So this chapter was about basic AJAX, CRUD with AJAX. And you already finished with all the JavaScript. So the last part was about the delete, and we can see here the delete is about how we can delete a particular data. And for this delete, it was in the document. So the document means the document that we used for this one, it is in the it is in the delete, this one. And then if I click this button, if I click the delete button, then we will get the name of that particular row, and then we are calling the link delete, and then we try to get the ID. What is the ID of the data? And when we use the post, so we deliver the ID to the backend, which is to the server, because we know that this is the CRFF middleware token. It is to connect with our Django. And if it is success, we will go back to the function read. The function read means we will read the remaining data, and then we will delete. So the link of delete, this part, the link of the deletion is this one. We will go to the delete function. We want to delete the particular ID. And when we find that ID, then we will delete it from the database. Okay. So that's all about the CRUD. Okay, so this is the explanation of the AJAX. So we learned already about the AJAX, how we can deal with the CRUD, and then how we do with the jQuery. I show you the basic syntax of the jQuery, and then some implementation of the jQuery with basic syntax of AJAX. I uploaded one new file into the e-class. So we are going to learn about data visualization. In the web, nowadays it is getting more popular to show your data. The data scientist, data analyst becomes more important these days. And it is important if we can learn also about the data related stuff with web. In the first part, I would like to show you some visualization, and then how we can deal with the data related engine. For example, how if we want to connect to our backend and show some kind of algorithm to our web. So I will discuss about the charts in the web, and then some charts example, and how we can integrate charts with the backend. What is chart? Chart is one of the way to visualize the data. And maybe you can say chart, or some other website they mention as graph. Maybe they also give some kind of other terminology like visualizing the data and etc. But let's just use chart because it is one of the common word. So there are many frameworks providing chart templates. For example, Google chart. So the Google chart gives you a lot of charts, but it is just the basic. If you look at this chart, so the Google chart provides a lot of libraries. You can see what are the good charts or what are the proper visualization for your data. If your data is table, yeah, you know that using the data tables, it provides many kind of features, like if you want to filter and etc. Yeah, you can do with the data tables. In this Google chart, it shows only table, and it shows only in the web with the JavaScript. So we are going to check not all the charts, but maybe we'll just do some parts, and then I will also give you some other variants of the charts. So the idea is, if we have raw data, we need to convert the data into a kind of table. So we call it data table. And if we have the data table, then we can visualize the structure. So the visualizing the structure means you can find what are the proper charts, and then you will show it to other people. So we can say that is the view. In this part, we are transforming the data. So the data can be in the text, or the data can be in the CSV, or the data can be in any format. You will change it to the data tables, and we will have a visual mapping function to change from the data table into the visual structure. So the visual structure can be anything. It can be in a list, or it can be in the dictionary. In Python, there are some data structures. Okay? And after we have those data structures, we can transform it into a view. So these steps require the human interaction. The charts with use the JS framework, JS is the JavaScript, have procedures or steps to perform the visualization. So most of the frameworks apply almost the same procedure or step. So most of the framework, but not all. In like Google, they are also a kind of framework, and you can apply the same procedure with other kind of framework, for example, the Cytoscape JS and other things. Some of the most widely used open source framework for charts, yeah, you can see this one. Actually, there are many charting libraries with the JavaScript. We call it JavaScript charting libraries. If you want to see, this is from the Wikipedia. So there are many charts available, and yeah, it really depends on what you want to do with the charts. And some charts, they have the license. Okay, you can see that charts, it is free with a link. Okay. If it is commercial, then you need to pay for some money. So it is free. Yeah, yes, AJAX charts, Billboard JS, C3 JS, so it is free. Canvas, it is free for personal and so on. So you can check what is the best chart for you. So if you can apply the charts in your team project, yeah, that will be better. That will be perfect. Okay. Yeah, I just list up some of the open source framework. You can look at the Wikipedia for the details. Here I just wrote Cytoscape, Raphael, JS, Protofish, D3.js, HighChart, React.js, and etc. Okay. How we can show the charts is it is important we get to know, because every framework they have their own way, or they have their own procedure. Most probably, okay, we have this kind of procedures. The first is we are going to load the charts library. After we load the charts library, we want to prepare the data. And then we customize the charts. Maybe we want to put some label, or we want to put some legends, or we want to change the color. And after we customize it, then we will draw the charts. So this is the 4 steps that most probably you will do in charting. In our example, I will show you with 3 kind of charts: Google Charts, HighCharts, and MCharts. Now, let's try with very simple chart. I would like to use the current project. In the current project, we still have the basic REST. Now, I would like to check this one. Let's go to view.py and then create a new method viewBar, and then return the request to the viewBar.html. So you can also do the same thing like what you did before when we are doing with the HTML. So in the urls.py, you can create a new statement to the link viewBar, create viewbar.html in the border templates, and then copy paste. Okay, let's see. In the views.py, I would like to make a new function, viewbar. And then I will make the viewbar.html in the folder chart. So in the views.py, let me make I will make a section. Here's one for the visualization. So I will make one new function, which is viewbar, and then I will connect to the chart viewbar. So in the URLs, let's update the URLs with the path. If you are accessing the viewbar, let's call the function viewbar. And the name is viewbar. It means whenever you try to connect this to the back end from the front end, you can just call the viewbar. I will copy and paste this one, and I will put it into urls.py. Okay, in the previous part, you have a lot of the link JSON view feed, view JSON, view REST. So I'm giving one new, which is a viewbar. And I need to have a new HTML file. The HTML file is viewbar.html. And let's make a new directory chart in the folder templates. So this is the folder templates. I need to make a new directory. And then I will make chart. And I will make a new HTML file. Viewbar. Okay. Now I would like to use this code, and you can just try to copy and paste here. Now I will run it. I will have the API, and then I will show it with the view button. Now you can see the bar chart. Okay. What is the meaning by this bar chart? You can move your mouse and then you can see the details. Okay, this is about the population and the unit is in millions. In 2012, in Asia, there are about 9,900 millions. In Europe, there are about 390 millions population, okay, and so on. Now, how we can create this one? I'm using the Google chart. First, I would like to call the loader. Loader means I want to load the Google charts using this JavaScript. If you go to this link, okay, this is a JavaScript, and this JavaScript is connected to the Google charts. The Google charts have this option, and whenever you call it to your website, you can reuse some existing of the code. And I'm also defining the type of the charts. So here I use Google.charts.load, and I'm going to show it in the current. So current, I think this is from the Google. And there is a package in the Google, they call it core chart. So the core chart is the some of the charts. We have some core, like the bar chart or line chart, okay, and pie chart. They are including in the core charts. If they are in the core chart, most probably the data structures are the same. So you don't need to change the data structure. So you can just follow the data structure that has been defined by Google. Now, after you have the loader.js and after you define this load function, so I'm going to the body. In the body, we have another script, and the script is about the function which is about draw chart. I would like to draw a chart. What is the data? Okay, so this is the data. There are 3 columns here, Asia and Europe. So in the year, we have five data. In the Asia, we have 5 data. In Europe, we have 5 data. And I want to plot this one into a bar chart. First, I can make an option. The option is the title. So I want to put the title, which is populations in million. And when I get the google.visualization.bar chart, I would like to get the element ID by the container. What is the container here? Here. So we define one container, and this container will be the placement of the chart. I want to place the chart into this container. So the bar chart will be located in this container, and then this is an object. If you learn the object-oriented programming, we call this is an object because it is created from one class, which is bar chart. And then the chart will be drawn with the current data. What is the data? This one. And there will be another parameters, which is options. So the chart will show the option, which is population in millions, and it will show the data. And the data is in this format. We call this is the array to data table. This is one of the data structure that we can use for the data visualization. Okay, this is the result. So what I explained to you previously, we have 4 steps. You still remember? Loading the chart library, prepare the data, customize the charts, and draw the charts. The first is loading the chart library. This is the loader part. With few exceptions, all web pages with Google Charts should include the following line in the head. So you need to have these 2 at least. The first is the loader, and the other is what is the proper chart, or what is the chart that you want to use. All charts require data. It means you need to prepare the data. Now I give the data in the static form. You cannot modify the data because it is in the list. But I'm expecting you use your data from the database, and then you will transform the data into a list. So the list can be shown with this kind of charting libraries. So Google charts require data to be wrapped in JavaScript called as the Google Visualization Data Table. This class is defined in the Google Visualization library that you loaded previously. So this Google Visualization Data Table, it depends on what you want to show. If you want to show bar chart, then you can use the bar chart. If you want to use data table, then you can change this to data table. But this is the data. This is the google.visualization.array to data table. So this is a form of array. And yeah, this array will be delivered to the data table. Using the data table, there can be 2 kind of ways. The first way is, we are making the data table with single definition. So I'm going to make a column. So the column will be string and browser. And then I will add another column, which is number, and this is the, this is the string, and then this will be the text, okay? Or it will show you about the information of this data. So the type of the data is string because it is text. And then the legend of that particular element here, they are about browser. So web browser like Firefox, IE, Chrome, Safari, Opera, others. So they are web browser. So I can just give title browser. And if I add more column, then this is the next column. It will be in number, and this is percentage. So how many people are using that browser? And after I add those 2 columns, I would like to add the rows. So the number of rows will be, it depends on your data, but the number of columns should exactly match with the column that you define. Some other charts may use array data structure. In this case, you are using the data table. But what we saw before, it was the array data table. The array data table, we can say that the array in the data structure is fed into the data table. You can also check the possibility to use JSON or JavaScript with the JavaScript object notation, JavaScript and JSON. And there can be another data which is called as GeoJSON. So geo means the geography, okay, in the earth. you will know the latitude and longitude. So we can have the GeoJSON latitude and longitude. You can customize your chart. Let's say I do not want to have a small chart. I want to make it bigger. Yeah, you can resize with an option. So this option, it is a common option. So the common option means every chart that you want to get, they have this option. They have the title, they have the width, they have the height. And if you want to make the chart as a 3D, then you can just put true. If you do not want, then you can just put false. And yeah, at the end, you need to draw the chart. So here, yeah, the option is about the title only. I didn't include other things. But for the chart here, yeah, we select, okay, we need to select at least one of the chart. So each chart type is based on different class and listed in the charts documentation. If you are using bar chart, it means you are calling the bar chart. So later on, we can see the other chart, like line chart or maybe area chart. So if, for instance, if the pie chart is used, then it is based on the Google visualization.pie chart. If the bar chart is used, then it will be google.visualization.bar chart. So it depends on the visualization that you want to use. Because I'm going to show in the bar chart, then I use bar chart. And then I would like to put the result into the container. So the container is one of the tag in the HTML. And at the end, don't forget to draw. Draw the data and use the options that you have defined, and then you can see the result. Some charts use basic package. It means in Google, it uses core chart. Other charts may require additional or different packages. Google has been mature enough as an IT company, so they don't provide difficult things, or they will not show the complex thing. So the charts or the core chart will be located in the core chart library. Both pie and bar charts are included in the core chart package that you loaded at the beginning of this tutorial. However, if you want to use a tree map or GeoChart on your page, then you must additionally load the tree map or GeoMap packages. So we will see what are the packages here. Okay, so as you know, there are many kind of charts here. I do not know what kind of chart that is good for you, so I will just explain the basic one. The next chart is bubble chart. In views.py, let's create a new method, viewBubble, and return the request to viewBubble.html. And then in the URLs, you need to create a new statement to link the viewBubble. And then create viewBubble.html in the folder templates. And let's see. So I have this function. I need to put it into the views.py. Okay, I still use the previous example for this one. Now, you can see that I'm going to forward the information to viewBubble.html. Okay, before this one, it will be good if we can create the link. It is in the URLs UI. So now I have two kind of charts. The first is bar chart and the other is bubble chart. And after I have all those, I need to make the HTML file. So I will make the viewBubble.html in the folder chart. Oh, sorry. viewBubble.html and then copy and paste. As you might know from the previous example, we load the Google static JavaScript, and then we are going to use the core chart from the Google. And let's say this one is the body, we have the container. So if you want to put the result into the container, then you can put the ID as container. Now I'm using different way. So the previous one, we use the array to data table. Array to data table. But in this case, I just use data table. Let's say in this example, I have 3 columns. Okay, the string data type follows with the ID attribute, and then the column number, it is for the age, and the width, it is for is also using number. Okay. Now I'm going to add the row. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we have 6. So each of them will be representing each of this ID. So ID, maybe the ID is the person name, and then the age, and then the weight. Maybe the weight is in the pound, I guess. So after we have this data, we would like to set up the option for the chart. I would like to see the age and width, and then the height and the weight of the chart can be determined as well. So in this case, the width is 550 and the height is 400. Now you can see that the chart will be created, but now we change to bubble chart. So the previous section, we learned about the bar chart. If you want to change the other kind of data visualization with Google, you can change only this function. So we are going to check what is inside the container, and then we will draw. After we finish with this, Google Charts set on the callback draw charts. So the draw charts is the function here. Whenever we call it, then it will execute this one. Let me check. Okay, so you can see the view bubble. The person's name Sohan. He is 3 years old and the weight is 3.5. Julie is the next, and Karim is the next, and the highest one is Ramesh. Pie chart. The pie chart, we call it pie because the shape is similar to pie. We can create a new method viewPy and return the request of the data to the viewPy.html. In urls.py, create a new statement to the link viewPy, and then you can create the viewPy.html file. So I will make this new function viewPy request. Sorry. So viewPy, or okay, I need to put into the view.py. Okay, we have a new line viewPy. I want to show the pie chart, and then the data will be sent to the data need to be in the link. So we have the urls.py. Let's update this one. For views.py, we need to make a function viewPy, and then the urls, we need to add one more. So in this case, I'm going to use the pie chart to show the data. And let's create a new HTML file, viewpy.html. viewpy.html. So in this data, I'm going to load from the Google website, and I'm going to use the core chart. If the pie chart is still in the core chart. And in the body, I'm still making the container, so it will be the place after you get all the pictures. And then we enter the function, so the same like the previous one, we use the data table. So we add the column first. How many columns do we have? In this case, we have 2. Okay. The first column is the browser itself, and the second is the percentage. How many percent users use that web browser? Firefox 45%, IE is 26.8%, Chrome, and so on. So in the options, we have some information. For example, the title. You want to show the title into the web, and then you have width and you have height. And then you can also change the chart into 3D. If you want to make it a 3D, then you can have the is 3D. Because true or not. So let's make an instance. We are using the pie chart. Okay, the bar chart, bubble chart, they have specific function. So this is the same with the pie chart. Pie chart is a specific function, and we want to get the element from the container. And then, yeah, just draw the chart with the data at points. At the end, we need to call back. Okay. The callback is the after you finish. If there is no such request, then you can stop. Okay. But this one is the first part. You can run what you want to draw in your chart. Let's say if I use viewPy. Okay, this is the pie. Now you can see the shape is somehow 3D. If I change this onto false, now it's just round, okay, without any 3D structure. We can also deal with some kind of dynamic data. In this case, I would like to use HighChart. HighChart is one of the open source company as well. This views.py can be created with a more function view dynamic, and then return the request to view dynamic HTML. In the URL.py, let's make a new statement for the view dynamic, and then create the view dynamic.html and then copy paste. So I will just do this one, view dynamic in the views.py. Okay, we have view dynamic, and then let's update the link. So let's update the link. Here we have the view dynamic, and it goes to view dynamic function. And now let's make a new HTML. View dynamic.html. View dynamic.html. Okay. Now the code is a little bit complex. Okay. It is not based on Google, but I took from one library. It is called as HighChart. There are many websites, as I mentioned to you in the Wikipedia, they share a lot of possible tools for this kind of visualization. And every tool has different way of the CDN. In this case, the HighChart give you the HighChart.js. It is the JavaScript, so you can just use it and you can like just call the method in your engine. The first part is the AJAX, the jQuery. So it is about the jQuery, but it is related with the AJAX. I have one container. Now, if the document is ready, let's make the chart as SP line, and then the animation is highchart.svg, and the margin right is 10. Okay, I guess this is a little bit complex. Let's see this view dynamic. Okay, this is a kind of stream data. Okay. You can see the data is randomly generated, and then we can update the data into web. You can also do, if you want, if you have some kind of real data and then you want to show it in this kind of signal, then that will be good. So we have the event. The event means I want to get the series 0. Series 0 means the starting point. And then let's set the interval. So the interval will be the time. X will be the current date, or the current time. After I know the current time, and then I will make a Y as random. And let's make the add point. Let's add the points X and Y. So this is the JavaScript to identify the event. Okay? Whenever we finish some event, we will generate a new data. So like this one, it is finished, so it generates a new data. We are using the high charts. Okay? it is another open source and you can use it for free, but there are some limitations. So in the high chart, it is different with Google form, sorry, the Google chart. In this case, you need to define the variable and yeah, you need to show what is the title, leave random data. And then you need also to show maybe the x-axis. So this x-axis has two data. This is the type of the data type and then the tick pixel type. This is the y-axis. The y-axis refers to the value, and then the plot will be value of 0, width is 1, and the color is this one. So we have a predefined charts so that the charts can work only the way the user wants. Tooltip. Do you have any idea what is tooltip? If you go to this one, you can see this is the tooltip. Okay. This box panel is the tooltip. You can see this is the random data, this is random data, and you can see the time. Okay. That's the tooltip. So the tooltip will be the series name and then also the high chart that format and the high chart number format. Okay. That's why if you choose this one, then you will see the data related to the time. 1 by 2022, 5 May, 1620 something something, and then the value is, you can see, the value is 0.91. This value is 0.29. And in this options, sorry. If you want to define the tooltip with the CSS style, is okay. But this is in the JavaScript. So if you want to change the JavaScript with CSS, it will be a little bit complex. Okay? So we can just use the existing code, and then we can just call what is the property that you want to use. Okay, thank you. So in this case, I will just call the date format, and then I will show what is the X, and then I would like to show what is the Y. That's why here you will see that the data is 0.03. The data is 0.8, 0.73, and then 0.04, and so on. For the plot options, yeah, it is only about the template, like how big is the circle, and then whether now the point started at 1940, and then the symbol is in a circle, and what is the radius? What is the distance between one data to another data? And then states hover enable true. And if you hover your mouse, then it will also show the dynamicity. Legend. Okay, I don't have legend. Export. I don't have the export function. If you want to change, there's one you can check, but I guess no. Yeah, there is no property for the export because it is an open source. If you want to have more function, I guess you need to have some commercial version. And let's say it is the series. Okay, what is the series here? Yeah, this is the series. So it is one of the series. Oh, sorry, this is the series that we want to get. This is the data that has been created in the JavaScript, and we want to start from the index 0. So the series is a random data, and then this is the function to generate the data. We have the data, we start with the blank and then time. And then whenever we have the time, so we will save it into this data and then we are going to push into the JavaScript. And we are counting backward, okay, from -19 and then -18 and then -17. So you can see this one is flowing. So this one is flowing like this one. And then we are going to push. To push means we want to show it into the graph. We have the time multiplied by 1000. It means every 1 second we can see the data. And then y will be random. So you will return the data. Those are some of the properties like the chart, title, tooltip, y-axis, x-axis, legend, exporting, series, plot options. After you set all of them in correct way, then you can just call the highcharts and then call all the things so that it is integrated into one file, which is the JSON. You can define this name as you want, okay? But in my case, I make the JSON. So we call the JSON, so we put into the highcharts function and we want to show it into the container. Okay, that's about the highchart, and you can see it's very long compared to the Google chart. It's very short, but in highchart it is worth because it has a function which is not available in Google. Okay.